Animal communication is where animal is leading the entire conversation. I am just a medium who is just translating what the animal is saying the way it is. This dog came to me, he could not really breathe. He had reverse breathing. I said, okay, let's communicate it. He said, there's like a foreign body in my nose.
Oh, the suppressed emotions, the suppressed illnesses, our unspoken habits, do they also affect our pet animals?
They see how we are behaving. They absorb a lot of energy from us. Whether I have fear, whether I have aggression, all this impacts the animal. If an animal has been traumatized, if an animal has been beaten up or abandoned, they are going to carry these emotions. There are cases where animals have told me like what healing the human needs.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah.
What do you suggest to those who might want to take this profession up?
See to it that you're not projecting your emotions, your belief system.
Sometimes young and perfectly healthy animals also pass away. Why does this happen?
There was this dog, he went missing. And we communicated with the animal. Animal clearly in the communication told me that I have found someone else.
क्या हमारी इंटरफेरेंस, क्या हमारी हैंडलिंग पेट्स की एक अड़चन बन सकती है उनकी हीलिंग और उनकी रिकवरी ग्रोथ में?
The beauty of animal work is they surrender. And we humans don't know how to surrender, we know how to control. So we have to learn a lot from animals. And literally in communication, animals, one of the questions they say, what do you want? I want my pet parent or my guardian to really...
Welcome to yet another episode of Be Aware of Animals. And today, we are exploring the deeper bonds between humans and animals and how conscious pet parenting can help elevate state of life of both forms. Hi, I'm Amit, your host.
And I am Divya Sambhavani, canine trainer and behaviorist. And today's episode is part of our series Beyond Pet Care, a journey to holistic well-being.
And our guest today is also someone who redefines the way we communicate with our furry companions. She's a telepathic animal communicator, a shamanic healer, and the founder of Divine Pets.
Her work involves helping animals and their parents through healing modalities like Reiki, quantum healing, Jinsu Jitsu, essential oils, backflower remedies, and much more. Joining us today is Aarti Desai.
Hi, Aarti.
Hi,
Welcome to the show.
thank you. And I'm very happy to be here.
Let's start with telling our viewers what exactly is animal telepathy, how does it work, and what inspired you to walk this path?
So I'll start with what inspired me.
Sure.
So Divine Pets, as you all know, my brand name. It's dedicated to my first dog, Honey. She has inspired me. She's not there in physical form, but she's there in spirit form with me. So she carved my path. She brought animal communication to my world. And she changed the way I look at animals. And I'm sure this whole episode is going to change the way y'all are going to see animals.
We look forward to it.
Looking forward. Yeah.
Animal communication is where the animal is leading the entire conversation. I am just a medium who is just translating what the animal is saying the way it is.
Got it. And how is it different from being a psychic? Like a lot of times people get confused between a telepathic communicator and a psychic.
It's not a gift that has been gifted to me. So it's not like a psychic, I'm reading his mind or what's going on in his mind. It's the animal telling me if he's feeling happy, he's feeling pain, he's feeling discomfort. So the animal leads the communication from the time the communication starts till the end. It's the animal who's in charge.
So, since you mentioned it's not like a gift to an individual, so do you mean that anybody can communicate to animals?
Yeah, anybody can.
What is the kind of skill that is required to do
Trusting your own self. I think even when my journey started, everyone thought I've gone crazy. My husband thought I've gone crazy. My mother thought I've gone crazy. She's going to talk to animals. Like, who does that? If you see, even today in villages, people are communicating with the animals. The nomadic people, the tribal people, they are communicating with nature. They're communicating with animals, plants, rocks. Everything has consciousness. The whole process is about silencing your mind and actually listening to what the animal is saying. We have our own projections, our own belief systems. So our whole job is to keep our feelings, our projections completely aside and really pause and listen.
Correct.
So when we bring our these pets home, they don't just come into our homes. There is also an energy, right? So in your experience, the suppressed emotions, the suppressed illnesses, our unspoken habits, do they also affect our pet animals, their behavior and their health?
Definitely. So We have to understand we are bringing animals from their environment to our environment. We have a specific way that we live our lives. There is a whole study that's done on human children that by the age of 7, all the belief systems are formed.
Okay.
They pick up the belief system from the environment, from their parents. It's not what the parent is telling, but what the parent is doing. So when we get animals into our space, we are putting out a certain belief system. We are holding
Right.
belief systems. And animals are energetic beings. They absorb a lot of energy from us.
Yeah.
They see how we are behaving.
Hmm.
They see the children in the house, the way they are behaving. Whether I have fear, whether I have aggression, all this impacts the animal. Plus, the animal comes with his own set of emotions,
Right.
own set of fears. What the animal experienced when he was in his mother's womb.
Hmm.
What is even the past history of the animal through generations. If the animal has been born in the street, they have certain experiences. If an animal has been traumatized, if an animal has been beaten up or abandoned, they are going to carry these emotions. It's our job as a pet parent even to understand the responsibility of supporting them emotionally, physically, mentally, in all forms.
Yeah. A lot of times we feel that हमने अपने डॉग या कैट को अच्छा खाना दे दिया और थोड़ा बहुत वॉक पे लेके गए तो हो गया बट दैट इज़ नॉट द ओनली कंजम्पशन दैट दे हैव इट लाइक हाउ यू राइटली सेड इट्स देयर एनवायरमेंट ऑल्सो दैट दे आर कंज्यूमिंग इवन इफ वी आर स्ट्रेस्ड आउट और देर आर फाइट्स हैपनिंग इन द हाउस एनिमल्स आर कंज्यूमिंग दैट एनर्जी ऑल्सो even the area that we live in where they go for a walk, even if they send with a walker, they're consuming the walker's energy also. So there's so many different aspects where our animals are always absorbing those energies.
Yeah, because you see, there's so much chaos. There's a chaos that's within us.
Yeah.
Emotionally, we go through a lot of things. Maybe we have a job which is very taxing on us. Maybe a relationship that's not really working, or there could be a health issue that's going on at home. And the environment outside, we know like there's so much stress, there's honking. So the animal is subjected to so much of chaos.
Nuisance,
Yeah, that's chaos.
Could there also be a reason why we see the stray dog attacks rising also because of the chaos that is there in their environment, the energy they are absorbing?
The basic of nervous system is safety. If I don't feel safe somewhere, me as a human being, I will be like, I don't want to be here. It's so scary. I want to hide or I want to attack. The attack is also done because I want to safeguard my own self.
Correct.
Again, the personality of the animal plays a huge role. There are 2 cats in my house. So one personality is where she wants to mix around with everyone. But the other one, he is timid, he's scared. Now, he has a history behind that. So I know the history. So then it helps me to support him to let him go hide. Don't push myself. We don't give our animals choices. That's a very important thing, to give them choice to be.
Correct.
We want our animals to fit in our environment, the way we think the world is, and
Yeah.
this is how the animal is
We
supposed
like to
be.
play God in their life.
Yeah, we are not.
Yeah.
So, Aarti, in your experience, how do the belief systems, the unspoken habits, or the suppressed illnesses of the pet parents affect the health or behavior of our animals?
Yes. So what happens? Animals are mirrors.
Right.
Animals have come into our life to teach us something. So sometimes the biggest thing is to show us a mirror that please change your lifestyle, change your behavior.
Oh.
So I have seen many cases where people come to me either for healing or for animal communication, where they want to correct the animal with the physical ailment that they are having. And it's no surprise to me to see that they are actually mirroring someone in the family. So I had a client who had thyroid, high level of thyroid,
Okay.
and the pet was having the same thing. The human came to me because they wanted me to support the animal. But the animal is not going to be fully supported until the human doesn't work on themselves. Animals are constantly teaching us to evolve, to grow, spiritually, physically, in whatever way you say. But we have to shift.
So, this pet parent had diagnosed the thyroid in the dog, but he or she was not able to diagnose it within.
So she already had it.
She already had it. She
She
knew it.
already had it. So what happens? We pop a pill, and we feel
Acha.
popping the pill is taking care of our health issues. But we have to understand why that thyroid or that health issue got caused. Because before it comes into the physical form, it comes into your emotional form.
True.
So what is the emotion that caused it?
Yes.
Thyroid, if you really break it down, it's the riot within me.
Hmm.
So if something within me is in conflict, where I have to be something, someone else is telling me you have to be this, where I am fighting and I'm not taking a stand. So that is the whole definition of thyroid, if you really go to see.
Okay.
So you have to work in partnership with your animal. The animal who walks into your life comes with that package,
Hmm.
because you have that package which you need to work on.
Yeah. And our job is to accept
Yes.
that
Yeah,
and
that
not
comes
question
along.
it.
The problem happens is when people start avoiding, okay, you know, like, no, you correct my dog or you correct my cat, I will work on myself.
Hmm.
You know, but that work doesn't happen. You have to work
Yeah.
on
या
yourself.
एनिमल कम्युनिकेशन से उसको बोल दो ना कि ये नहीं करे,
Yeah.
क्यों कर रहा है,
Yeah.
मैं अपना देख लूंगी, you know, like
Yeah.
this was a
Yeah.
common thing that I used to also get.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what.
So we always want to, you know, as humans, we feel that we have the fix-it job because we are fixing everything. So we feel that we
Yeah,
can
very
fix
true.
our animals.
Correct.
But it's not about fixing anyone. It's about being in this partnership with your animal, you working on yourself, and then let the animal also work on themselves with whatever emotional component the animal has picked up. And I think it can be worked in a very beautiful way. I'll give you another example where I am working with frequencies with pets.
Hmm.
In this case, the dog was under healing with me, and I spoke to the pet parent. I said, there's a hormonal imbalance, there is this going on. She's saying, you're talking exactly about me.
Wow.
And so the animal has come into your life for you to correct that. Now it's beautiful when the animal and the human starts working together.
Right.
But yeah, if a person is not doing it, the healing is really not happening in that level that it can go to. Now animals beautifully do something called a discharge. We have, as humans, not been taught to discharge.
We suppress.
We suppress. We have to show that I am very strong. So I literally tell, take the word strong, write it in a piece of paper, please tear it and throw it in the bin. Because when we say I am strong, means I will endure, I will tolerate. Even if it's disturbing me, I don't like X person, that X person has abused me or emotionally drained me off, but I will smile because I am strong. Our animals are so beautiful. If they don't like something, they do something called zoomies.
Yeah.
They might take things and they will tear it. And we will tell them, oh, don't, you know, like behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
Animals are animals. We have to let them discharge. In fact, I will say, go learn it from your animal to discharge. Go and run.
Yeah, get it
Go
out
and
of your
do it.
system. And that's what stored emotions look like. And
Yeah,
then goes into
that's
diseases
the
and
somatic.
everything.
That is the
Yeah.
somatic. Because we like to always be the good one in front of everyone. We want to show the world I'm perfect in all manners. And that what we do, we hide. You can't be angry. You know, we've been taught when we were kids, if one child would get angry, our parents would say, nahi, gussa nahi karne ka. Like it's bad. But no, why is anger bad? Anger is an emotion that's got expressed because of a certain situation. Discharge it. If you discharge it, you're not holding the energy of that anger within your body because you're only harming your own self. So there are so many emotions.
Right.
These are different aspects of us.
Yeah.
So the animal also has different aspects.
Could it also happen that कि अगर हमारे पेट कोई थेरेपी ले रहे हैं and you know we are not able to control our emotions or you know the way to handle them, then क्या हमारी interference, क्या हमारी handling pets की एक अड़चन बन सकती है उनकी healing और उनकी recovery growth में?
Yeah, that definitely happens. So if I display a very calm nervous system, the animal is going to pick up that. If I am going to be nervous, if my animal is unwell, the animal is already unwell, is not feeling good about himself.
And to add to that,
And then the
your-
human comes, because most of the problem comes is when the human is completely here and there. So for me, that time to handle the human is my whole job more than handling the animal.
animals. I'm sure.
Because the human has to be in the right state of mind to be able to support the animal.
Right.
The healing or the modality that I practiced on the animal at that time, the healing takes place, the animal allows it. The beauty of animal work is they surrender. And we humans don't know how to surrender, we know how to control. So we have to learn a lot from animals.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
beautifully said. It's actually wonderful to see how telepathic animal communication is being used for such a genuine purpose. To
Yeah.
actually be, to have a voice, to give them a voice, to understand why they are doing things. How can we help them better?
There are cases where animals have told me like what healing the human needs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah. Or sometimes the animal will tell me, give her this. And then when you speak to the human, they'll literally tell, yeah, I am actually feeling this.
We humans feel least judged in front of our pet animals, right? And thereby we release all our emotions, cry in front of them, or share secrets with them. Do you think this kind of emotional unloading can actually affect their health also?
But why do you think that happens?
Because I feel that you feel very secure with your pet animals. You're in a space that nobody's going to, like you rightly said, that we try to be strong because we don't want people to know about our vulnerabilities, right? We don't want people to know that we have weaknesses. But in front of pets, it's a very different story. They're not going to go around and tell about you, right? So you feel very secured.
Yeah, that's your
with
nervous
them.
system talking to them.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you that question. So nervous system is all about safety. Your animal gives you that safety.
Yes.
You will be vulnerable, you will discharge, which is your crying, you will laugh, you'll share everything, you will open up your heart. That's the reason
Right.
animals come and change your life completely. As humans, we will go through all the different spectrum of emotions, be it on the positive side, if I say love, caring, compassion, all that I feel. But there is a shadow self of us, which is anger, which is jealousy, which
True.
is being vindictive, resentment, or being lonely. These are different emotions that I feel. So I need to address them. Our animal is actually coming into our lives asking us to address these emotions. So if you're going to really choose your animal to speak up your feelings, like,
Right.
listen, I'm not really feeling well, and you start crying, it's
Correct.
completely okay.
Okay.
So, like, there are times when I have literally been so excited and I'm dancing, and my cat is like, what is she doing? But they've been there and they are then running and playing. But there are times when I have been really upset and I'm crying. Sometimes my animal will sit there beside me.
Right.
And there will be times where my animal say, this is too much. This is too much of drama. Now you deal with it. I am going. I am done. So we need to respect that. So that's why I say animals are very intelligent.
Yeah.
So we need to know where we have to draw the line.
Correct.
And our animals actually want us to address what's going on within us inside, actually. Because when you are your 100%, you will give your 100%.
Yeah, like whenever we are on the flight, that's the first thing that's told to us, no? पहले अपना oxygen
Yes,
mask डालो,
yes.
फिर बच्चे का डालो.
Yeah.
So till we are not complete, cannot expect
Yeah.
our dog to also, like, we keep serving them, but our
Yeah.
own battery also needs to be charged.
Yeah, true. And as pet parents, one of the biggest emotion that pet parents carry is guilt. Even if they're traveling, my poor pet, how they will survive, what they will do. And guilt in the emotional chart of bringing your energy down, your frequency down, is the lowest. Then you're operating out of guilt. You're not giving out of love.
Right.
You have to give out of love. Your animal is going to be well taken care of.
I read this about soul contracts, how we and our pets share a soul contract together. So if you'd like to talk a little bit more about it, we would be very happy to know.
So, the way I said, we have emotional wounds. For example, I'll give you, maybe I need to work on my boundaries. So, my cat who comes into my life might be Miss Touchy, that who does not want to be touched. If you really observe your animals, they are teaching you literally life lessons, what you need to embody or what you need to learn. So, they made a contract with us on the soul level that this is a lesson that I'll come and teach you. It could be a lesson about love. Like my house, my in law's house was a house where no pets were allowed.
Okay.
And a cat came into my life and she taught me a lot of things. And the most important thing, she opened the heart for my husband and my in laws. And I have 2 cats after her. So they literally come for specific people in your house also. It's not necessary you got that pet, so that pet has come for you. It could be for your mother, it could be for your husband, it could be for a child at home who
Right.
really needs that.
So I think you repeatedly said that they come into our lives to teach us something, whether it's patience, loyalty, detachment, or there could be a number of things. Do you think that sometimes the higher spiritual souls take the form of these animals and come into our environment
Yeah.
to teach
So
us?
animal communication is not only for animals who are alive.
Okay.
We can also speak to animals who have crossed over.
Oh,
Okay, so in spirit when they
so
are.
how does it work then?
So in this case, I communicated with Polka after she had crossed over, and I wanted to know what was her purpose and why
Right.
she came into my life. And she showed me that she came as a spiritual master. Now, Polka was a stray cat who had entered my mom's building from nowhere one day. And because she was a very timid cat, she stayed inside the building. And obviously, we feel that, okay, feeding the animal, giving the food, because it was easy for me to, okay, feed her. But what about sitting down with her and spending that time with her? We feel we are feeding and it's done. What about really sitting there for even 5 minutes and just being with that animal? I think that shifted a lot for me, even to understand that feeding is not taking care.
Mm.
At times where literally, your animal is at home, you get so busy that puppy is being taken care by
Yeah.
walkers or the house helps.
Yeah.
And literally in communication animals, one of the questions they say, what do you want? I want my pet parent or my guardian to really spend time with me. I want to go out with them. I want to go for a car ride with them. I want to go in nature with them. And the biggest lesson that the animal can bring for us is pausing, because when you pause, you can make a huge big of a difference in your life.
Yeah. A lot of times, when we work with behavior under training, we see the dog is exhibiting a lot of attention seeking behaviors.
Yeah.
Now, the parent says, tell him to stop doing that. But क्यों attention seek कर रहा है? That
Yeah.
means there's something that he's trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And if he's chewing on your furniture, or if he's chewing your things, his intention is not to cause harm. His intention is only to seek your attention.
The displayed behavior, it could be a misplaced behavior.
Yeah.
It's they're displaying it because something is there that needs to be placed in the right way.
Correct.
And usually it's the attention that they need from the pet parent or from the guardian, that give me some time.
Yeah.
Like I have stopped people with walkers are literally pulling, they're on their phone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that walk time is their time. That's their me time with you. They want to sniff. We have to let them sniff, because
Mm.
that sniffing is creating something in their brain, because animals live the world from their nose.
Right.
Yeah.
We are living from our eyes where we want to see a mountain, but they are getting so much information only with sniffing. So if we let them do that, we don't pull them and say abhi nahi bas itna soong liya, abhi
Ah,
khicho.
true.
Like literally that happens. I think that 1 hour or half an hour, that 45 minutes that you're taking out for your pet, let him do a lot of sniffing rather than making him run and walk. And that exercise has its own place.
Or do a to-do list कि चलो चलो walk खत्म करना है, चलो
Yes.
चलो चलो चलो
Yeah.
fast लेके अभी
Yes.
वापस घर चलो,
Yeah.
that late हो रही हूँ मैं meeting के लिए.
Yeah.
The common phenomena.
The
also.
beauty of this is, whenever my dog is taken for walk, and the day my mom will do कि जल्दी जल्दी करो मुझे, she will sniff to her. Like
Heart
she will
content.
be like, I will sniff here also, I will sniff there also. My mom is like, see what she's doing. She's troubled me today. I said no. She literally told you no need to
Patience.
run, no need to run, that you have to reach somewhere here. So that is her time. So it's perfectly fine.
So
You
sweet.
can only imagine the amount of sincerity that is required to, acquire and develop this kind of a skill to be able to telepathically communicate with another life form. What do you suggest to those who might want to take this profession up, full time and not get carried away in fame
First
and?
of all, you need to know what is your intention behind.
Hmm,
Why are you doing it?
right.
Are you doing it just because you want to be the animal communicator? I can talk to animals, the ego self.
Correct.
Our ego self has to be put aside.
Yeah.
We have to really get into this work if you're really wanting to support animals and really listen and hear to them. So that authenticity towards your work for your animal
Right.
is the most important thing. If you're doing it for the bigger cause of the animal, then definitely go into this. See to it that you're not projecting your emotions, your belief system,
Yes, very
your thing.
important.
This is very important in
Yeah.
animal communication. If you want to become a communicator, you want to support animals with any form of healing, you have to not have your projections. And we are humans, we are going to have our projections. So self work.
Right.
Even as a animal communicator, I'm continuously working on myself. You are work in progress from the time you've taken birth till the time you're going to die. So keep educating yourself, be aware, because there's a lot that's there. This lifetime is less to learn everything that the universe has to give
absolutely.
you. Do self work on yourself continuously. Animals will guide you.
Yeah. This actually reminded me of like a wonderful story that happened few years back. So I was training this wonderful dog called Bella, okay? And the mom asked me this question. She said, "Look, I have a 16-year-old daughter and she is going through things in her life and something very grave happened in her life." And we all were crying and we all were just in that state where we just needed each other. But at that moment, my dog did not come to, Bella did not come close or try to comfort us or at least be curious to what is happening to them, because at some point, crying, howling, how we usually do to express that emotion out of our system or just feel those emotions in a raw form. So I just asked her one question. I said that, how does your dog behave when she's unwell or when she's slightly upset about something? So she said Bella usually takes up a corner and she doesn't like any of us disturbing her. She doesn't like it when we're touching her also. She just wants her own space and she prefers it like that. So we say, okay, no problem. And then we give her that space. So I said, exactly. That's how love is, right? For her. So she thinks that's the best way to help you heal, because that's her definition of it. So she's giving you that space, she's giving you that way of healing yourself so that you can come back as a happier individual to her, is what you offer to her also. So what she's giving is a form of love only.
So, see, that's such a beautiful thing of learning from our animals.
Yeah.
And it again brings me back to that point that they are individuals. And again, my projection is कि मेरा animal को वाकई मुझे hug करना है, मेरे साथ बैठना है. And that animal's way of, because again, that dog is an individual. She likes her space. She's teaching you learn to take your space.
Right.
And probably she's also teaching you become responsible for your own emotions.
Yeah.
There could be a lot that's going on, and that's why I say, we are always learning from an animal.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty, I think, of animals coming into our lives.
That's what I think. We see all these videos on Instagram that try to, cloud our judgment. We will see reels of how there's a dog who's going and hugging the parent. So you say, ki, why don't I also
Yeah.
experience this love?
Yeah.
And then we end up getting a dog where you say, अरे ये तो hug ही नहीं करता. मुझे लगा सारे dogs ऐसे करते
Yeah.
हैं.
And again, they have their own personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And mera khud ka personality, I can say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm a person who is an introvert. You could have a dog who's an introvert also.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that.
Yeah.
So, Aarti, at Divine Pets, we offer multiple therapies. How do you decide what a specific pet needs at that moment, and how does the entire session unfold?
So it all really depends what the health concern is
Okay.
or what the emotional concern. If emotional component is something which I say you cannot ignore. Even if a dog is or a cat is coming with a physical symptom,
There must be something in the backdrop. Correct.
communication is where I will start with.
Okay.
Sometimes it will be like, okay, let's start with bark, because I know communication के बाद भी मुझे bark करना ही है. So that in that case, I will start with bark when I see literally if the animal is displaying a certain emotion. So usually in the animal communication also, I tell them, please don't tell me anything about your pet. Because the pet displays a certain energy to me before the communication or as soon as I start the communication.
Okay.
So that gives me an idea of the animal's personality. Because again, a lot of projection can happen over here. The human might feel, oh, my pet is very friendly. But I might find that the animal is maybe anxious. And then I need to address that anxiety. And bark flower will be one of the things. The other things is sound therapy. Sound works in a very beautiful way for us humans, but for the animals, it's to another level.
Okay.
Because as humans, I will think, ye kitna session chahiye mujhe? It's a general question we ask. How many sessions will I
Correct.
need, or how long do you think I will heal? And I have seen animals healing in 2 sessions of sound. Because the beauty of animals is they surrender to it. They don't have a mind which thinks whether this will work or will not work. So I'll give you an example of a case. It's a very old case of mine. This dog came to me who was a very old client of mine, and there was a pug, so he could not really breathe. He had reverse breathing. We all know with pugs breathing, because they are flat nose, the doctors would have to put a camera, and they were giving 50% chances.
Okay.
So the girl came to me. I said, okay, let's communicate. Communicated, he said, there's like a foreign body in my nose and I cannot breathe, and his breathing was reverse. So I said, okay, let's do sound. That was a very intuitive call over there that time. We did sound for him for 3 days. 3rd day, he went below my building after the session. He sneezed. There was blood that came out from his nose. He had a growth which completely bursted, and his breathing became normal.
Oh.
And many times the animal will say, in a communication, if I'm doing, I want homeopathy, I want bark flowers, I want sound, I don't want certain things. So which we honor what the pet is saying.
We have repeatedly heard this therapy called the Bach flower therapy. What exactly is this, and how does it work? What is the significance of this Bach flower?
So Bach flowers was brought into this beautiful world by Dr. Bach. They are like flower energy essence.
Ji.
So these flower are energetics basically.
Okay.
There are about 38 of them, and they are used in a combination for different emotional needs. So it's
Okay.
used for pets as well as humans.
Okay.
And according to what is the display of emotion that the animal is experiencing, we make the remedy for it.
Okay.
So if the animal is experiencing, for example, fear, during Diwali, during Ganpati, there is
Right.
so much of noise.
Hmm.
And we know they're very sensitive to noise. So a Bach flower specifically helps them to calm down. It's all about looking at the emotional and the physical symptom, what's there,
Hmm.
and then bringing Bach flowers into place and supporting them emotionally and even then physically. So it's all about support.
And
Yeah.
case to case basis.
Yes, it's case. Basically, Bach flowers is something I say everyone needs to have.
Hmm.
At least start with Bach flowers where if you're feeling really angry, because when you don't address the emotion,
Right.
it is going to come on your physical.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes even the parents' anger is mirrored in
Yes,
our
yes,
animals
yes.
also, and our animals end up getting rashes.
Yes, yes.
And we wonder why is their skin repeatedly getting, inflamed in spite of so many medications that's given. We've
Yeah.
done everything under the sun. There's one of the dogs that I was training. It so happened that every time, we would come for a session, we would see that, his skin is like probably worse from the previous session that we have done. Even though we're doing our best, yet he would get better and then again itch himself, scratch himself, and then again create those wounds. And it so randomly happened that in a session when we were discussing it, I kept touching my face. So sometimes I have a tendency of, doing this. And then it led to like a little bit of rosacea reaction that I had on my face. And the mother was a makeup artist. So she said, Divya, before we end the session, I just have a small advice to give you. You should use these natural remedies on your face और ये जो सब आपका सब acne के marks से सब चले जाएंगे. And then I just told her that yes, वो चले जाते हैं, लेकिन फिर ना मैं कभी कभी खुरिदती हूँ और फिर वो वापस आ जाते हैं. So she said, अरे कोको की टीचर और कोको सेम. And when she said that, it was like a light bulb that that hit in my head, that I was like, it's not just the parents also. Sometimes we as
Yes.
experts also forget our own energy will also reflect
Yes.
the kind of parents we attract or
Correct.
the kind of dogs that we attract. So always to be in check no matter where we are.
It's not necessarily the animals that are in your life, in your house, that they're teaching us. It could be an animal, your community dog, he's teaching you something.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be an animal as a client that you're going, he's teaching why you're getting certain kind of cases.
Right.
Either it could be something that you need to look into your life, or it could be a bigger purpose. The animal is showing you that now you need to start working on this. Because for me, it's been like that. Wherever I have to learn something, an animal will come, show up with that thing, and I'll say, okay, study time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was so happy. Like, say, I think a month after that, the mom did a session with us at the dog park, and before we could even enter the park, she gave me a big hug. And it's very awkward for me if a client directly comes and hugs me because I'm not used to it. But she said that, I'm so glad that I managed to change or work on my relationship with my dog. And, this happened, that happened, and look at Coco right now. He's so happy. Look at him. Don't you see? I was not even looking at the dog. I was only looking at her. Because when I saw her energy shift, I was like, that then to wo ho gaya, wo to byproduct hua.
Yeah.
जो उसके dog को होगा ही. But I could see her really happy and changed, and then hence we saw that effect on the dog also. So yeah, absolutely
That's what
agree.
I'm saying. That's a partnership. It's in a very
Seriously.
beautiful way. It's a partnership.
Ati, what are those one or two hard-hitting or unforgettable things that you've heard from an animal during the telepathy session? Something that stayed with you for a very long time, or perhaps even changed you?
Okay, there was this small dog, and he was a grown-up dog, but he was peeing around the house, and we did a communication with him, and he said, I am doing this to get the attention of my mother, the human mother who was there, because she's not standing up, she's getting emotionally abused. So I am doing this thing to bring her attention to stand up for herself. So now this is a big, like sometimes they share a lot of secrets
Yeah.
of the family. And then when I spoke to her and I gave her the whole communication and explained, that is the time she told me, this is so bang on, because I am experiencing a lot of things emotionally, and I am not being able to stand up against it. And I said, your animal wants you to stand up. How you have to stand up now? You need to
Yeah.
gather the strength and do. And he is going to stop doing this.
Sometimes it is noticed that young and perfectly healthy animals also pass away. Have you ever, in any of your sessions, come to understand why does this happen?
See, it could be that the animal's soul contract with you is so small that he came for a certain lesson to be taught to you. There was this dog, he went missing. And we communicated with the animal, and the auntie whose dog it was very old. So she was very attached. She must be in her 70s or something, and she was like, no, I want my dog back. वो कैसे जी रहा होगा ये वो, and the animal clearly in the communication told me that I have found someone else. And the reason he did that, because he wanted to give a lesson to the human. It's a difficult lesson of surrendering, of letting go. There are so many animal rescuers there. They are rescuing so many animals. They definitely have some kind of contract that's made there for them to even do that kind of job, because it's not easy to be a rescuer.
True.
It's an emotional turmoil that they go through to be attached to that pet, really take care of that cat or a dog who's been abandoned or abused, or it's hardly few days and it just dies.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just walking on the street and
Yeah.
you find an injured puppy. And
Yeah.
sometimes you think to yourself कि यार मैं तो आज रिक्शा लेने वाला था. अच्छा हुआ मतलब good right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Like that. और अगर मैं ले लेता तो शायद I may not have met. But it was all destined for
Yes.
you to be there to walk
Yeah.
that particular path that day, find him,
True.
and then take him to the necessary medical care that he needed.
Yeah.
And then do after that whatever is required.
Yeah. And sometimes you take him for the medical care and he doesn't make it. Even that's a part of it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a story on this. My own dog, Angel, after Honey passed away, we decided no dogs are going to come to Allah. My mom said, no ways. I was given strict instructions, you cannot get another dog, because the only person who would do it was me. So I was like, fine. And then Honey's message came in a dream, and she said, I'm sending someone. I said, no ways. No ways. No dog is coming here. I will be killed. So, no. 6 months after that, I was going to my friend's place, and a puppy came under my rickshaw. She was crossing. She was really small, like hardly a month old and everything. So then I asked, what about us? Where's the mother? So those shopkeepers said the mother's died, all the siblings have died, she's the only one left. And I knew I cannot get another dog, but I don't know what happened. I carried the dog and didn't go to my friend's house. I went to my house. And my mom opened the door and she didn't say anything, and she just picked up that puppy in her lap. And I told her, Mom, I'll get her adopted. Now, we took her to adoption camps where she turned her bum on the public and she slept. And I was like, okay, fine. Not this adoption, another adoption camp. So we took her to 2 or 3 adoption camps where she was playing around like she's gone for a picnic. And obviously celebrities are there. She clicked some pictures with them and she came back home. And then finally in one of the adoption camps, she got adopted. And that guy came and spoke to me. I told him, like, when she's 6 months old, you have to neuter her and, those basic protocols that we say. And he's like, no, I am going to crossbreed her. I was like, what? And I was like, no ways am I giving the Angel at all. And then I got Angel back, and after that, I don't know what happened to my mother after a month, because my mom and I used to have constant fights because she started getting scared that now this dog is going to stay here, she's not going to. And I communicated with Honey, and Honey told me one thing: you will have to fight it and wait and watch. I said, no, it cannot. What do you mean by wait and watch? And she was literally in the communication smiling at me. I was like, no, you cannot put me through this. But she was meant to be in our lives, so she's there in our lives. Accept.
Amazing.
So now we're going to come to our favorite segment, which is a rapid fire round, where we're going to talk about whether this is a truth or a myth.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so cool. Are you ready? Let's get
Yes,
started.
let's go.
So the first thing, animals can understand human language.
Yes, to a certain limit, because we are repeating, and animals learn everything through repetition. So it's also the feelings, then they're picking up a lot of clues from my facial expressions, my tone, everything. I'll say truth.
Awesome. Cats are harder to read telepathically than dogs.
No, not at all. Cats love to really express themselves. Cats can have a dynamic energy, It's a very different field completely altogether. It's you that has to explore and start seeing it in that way.
It's a myth for sure.
Definitely.
Definitely. Great. Okay. If my pet doesn't respond to telepathy, it means that it doesn't trust me.
All
Like, I
animals
think it
respond to telepathy. So animals want to be heard. The animal communicator has to start. Maybe she's not trusting it. Maybe she has a lot of doubts.
Yeah.
That self doubt is the biggest obstacle that it can be, where I start saying, it's impossible for me to communicate. I can't communicate with my pet.
So it's a myth.
It's a myth. It's definitely a myth.
Okay. Unexpressed emotions of the pet parent can show up as illness in the pet.
Yeah, it can. It definitely can.
Truth. Yes.
It's a mirror. So you work on your things as well as your pet. So definitely, yes.
Yeah. My dog or cat will only want to speak to a communicator, not me.
No, not at all. It's a myth. So what happens? It sometimes gets challenging, I will say, for us to communicate with our pets, only because I feel that I know my pet so much that when the animal is even communicating with me, I am not ready to trust it.
Yeah.
And sometimes what happens, I can be very emotionally attached to my pet. So I'm not able to kind of separate out
Detach. Yeah.
what my pet is actually telling me and what actually I am feeling. And again, projections are there.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Your pet's bad behavior could be a reflection of your inner chaos.
Yes, that is
Truth.
true. Yeah.
Okay. Energy healing can replace allopathy treatment.
No, I won't say it's a myth. Allopathy has, I won't say it's a myth, I won't say it's a truth also. Allopathy has its place. You can't deny it. Okay, where there is a surgery needed, you need it. But definitely you can start supporting your pet from beforehand, that it doesn't go to this place where you need an allopathy.
So yes, that brings us to the end of the rapid fire. Thank you so much,
Thank
Aarti.
you very
you.
much. Seriously enjoyed
It
it.
was very difficult.
I'm sure about that. I can very well relate to it. And I think one thing that you reiterated in today's entire episode was that since a very young age, we are taught that communication is the key. So you really highlighted that aspect. So thank you very much for everything that you shared with us today here.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aarti.
So it is conversation like today's with Aarti Desai that remind us that connection isn't just about understanding. It is also about listening deeply and soulfully.
Like we all believe, problems end when we start listening. Make sure that you share this episode with someone who would love to listen, understand, and serve their animals better through the magic of telepathic communication.
Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We are just scratching the surface of what it truly means to coexist with our animals who walk with us as lifetime companions.
And until then, don't beware of animals, be aware of animals. See you in the next episode.
Thank you very much.